You're on ABC Radio Queensland. Less than 10 minutes until your 11 o'clock news. At the start of the year, did you set an intention or resolution? We're 2.5 weeks in. A lot has happened already. How are you going with it all? Are you still on track? Can you believe that we're up to the 19th already? Maybe for you that means you're getting into the year properly, back to reality, back to work. Well, psychology consultant and author Dr. Jo Lukens thinks we can be aiming to have a better 2026 without having the infamous resolutions. She says we should be focusing on the small steps instead.
Baby steps?
It means setting small, reasonable goals for yourself, one day at a time. One tiny step at a time.
Baby steps.
I think because quite simply, they're more achievable. When we're setting a resolution, we're often talking about we want to change something about us, whether we want more of something or less of something, whatever that thing might be. And we haven't been doing that thing. So we're often talking about big change. Whereas what we know is if we make really small, little incremental, manageable steps, then whatever the day is, whether we're motivated or not motivated, then we're still able to do them. So I'm a big fan of, it's not so much what do you do when you're motivated, but what are you still prepared to do when you really feel like climbing back into bed and pulling the doona up.
Yes, very true. How can letting go of things like perfectionism set people up for a better year this year?
Yeah, perfectionism is so problematic. I understand why people go there because they really want it to be special. And often when we project our thinking into the future, that's what we envisage. It's going to be the perfect outcome or whatever it is. But we know that in most human endeavours, when we aim for something to be perfect, we're actually setting ourselves up for failure. It's very unlikely that we'll have the perfect role in our job, or we'll make the perfect cake, or we'll have the perfect outcome, the perfect fitness routine, or whatever it is. So what we do is we don't lower our expectations, but what we do is we be more realistic with it. And so what we are better off to do is to aim for excellence rather than perfectionism. Perfectionism is always one of those things that you're typically going to end up disappointed, unfortunately.
Very true. Talking about 2026, a lot of people will be trying to improve friendships or create new friendships and improve their social hobbies. Why is that so powerful for our wellbeing?
Yeah, because we are so reliant on our relationships as humans. It's one of the things that really keeps us functioning well. And they become important. And usually through the festive break, for those who've fortunate enough to have a break, you may have been spending more time doing that. You may have been spending more time with people that you care about. You may have been able to get back into the garden or back into reading or doing whatever the thing is and gone, I'm really going to continue that for this year. So we know that those relationships are really important for us, and the hobbies are important for us because they're buffers, they help us manage the stress. And so when we can find ways to include those as part of our even if it's not our every day, but our every week, it's really important to schedule those things in as a regular thing that we do, and then we can focus on getting some of the other things done as well.
You're hearing from psychology consultant and author Dr. Jo Lukens. Gratitude exercises sometimes sound simple. Do they really make a difference?
Oh, they are so powerful. They really do make the biggest of differences. And we know that because we see in the schools that gratitude has been included into the curriculum of many schools. So it's part of the wellbeing structure that a lot of the education programs have, which is great because we know that's protective for us in terms of our wellbeing and in terms of our health. What we also know is that gratitude really helps us in terms of performance. So if we're aiming with some sort of better 2026, whatever that looks like for us, if we can find ways to be grateful for our little achievements, the things that we've done, it's really reinforcing for us. It reminds us of the good. It's so easy, isn't it, to go, oh, I didn't do it very well, or I didn't do a good job of that. But if you even notice the wins, and the smaller the wins, the better, we know doing those sorts of exercises are helpful. So people can even just think about what the things are that they're grateful for, or think about the wins, or you could even go one step further and jot those down into a notebook or something, and then you've got a whole year's worth of wins and things that have gone well. And it sounds very simple, but we actually know there's some good evidence and good science that sits behind it that is actually really good for us to do those sorts of exercises.
Speaking of small wins, naps, I love them. Singing and also changing how we use our phones can maybe help us a little. They sound I guess, a little lightweight, but how do they fit into a serious wellbeing plan?
They all have their place. I'm with you. I vote one for the naps. Singing probably if no one else is around to hear me do it. But we know that all of those fit it well into our wellbeing plan, because we'll put it this way, if we reversed it and we said it's about being serious and unhappy all the time and spending lots of time on your phone, we're never going to offer that as wellbeing advice.
Yeah.
So by default, we know that. We do know how important sleep and rest is. And for some people, it's not for everyone, but for some people, factoring in naps, and maybe that's on the weekend, might be part of what helps you to function well. We always need to experiment with that. We need to be careful about timings and so forth. But what we absolutely know is that sleep is one of the best predictors of us functioning well. So anything that we can do that involves our rest and our care is always going to be really important.
So if we are looking to have a better 2026, by now a lot of people are starting to get back into some form of normalcy, whether that be after the weather, whether that be after the silly season. I think next week the kids are going back to school for a lot of people. It's nearly a new line in the sand of the year, and it feels like 2026 for real is about to begin for a lot of people. What are some of those practical ways that we can start setting ourselves up for 2026 this week?
Yeah, so I think what we can do, and you're right, it's like a new line in the sand, isn't it? As humans, we love that.
We love a line in the sand.
We love a line in the sand. You'd never start a new habit on a Tuesday.
No,
that
that's
would
right.
be ridiculous. But again, to repeat what I said earlier, start small, I think is probably one of the best things that we can do. One small appealing habit that we can tweak slightly, and that might be about a weekly social activity or a gratitude note or doing something just a little bit different. It might be about going to the gym, or it might be about staying at the gym for that extra 5 minutes to do the stretches after you've done your routine, or whatever it might be, but something really small and manageable. Spend some time doing that. Be grateful for the fact that you were able to do it, and then think about what the next little thing is that you can add, because we know...
That's psychology consultant and author Dr. Jo Lukens there, and some reminiscing about the film What About Bob? You are on ABC Radio Queensland. Thanks for being with me this morning.